Hey, I'm Dan DeLuca, and I'm from the Philadelphia Inquirer.
How you doing, Dan?
I'm good. How are you?
How's Philadelphia today?
Philadelphia's all right. All right. We just got James Harden. The Sixers just got James Harden, and everybody's very excited about that.
That's nice.
Are you a basketball fan? You're not a basketball fan, are you?
I have to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
I know absolutely nothing about sports. And
Okay.
I
Here we go. Is that right? Is that right?
I swear to God, I really don't. I mean, I'm in Washington, D.C. right now in the suburbs just outside.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. I'm in the house I grew up in right now. But when I was a kid, of course, I fucking loved the Redskins. I was a lacrosse kid. I played soccer, right, like that. Once I discovered acid and Led Zeppelin, all that went out the window. So I haven't paid attention for years.
Cool. That's a whole, like a lot of brain space you don't have to bother with. Right?
Exactly.
Right.
And it's funny. I thought the Super Bowl was last weekend. I had no clue.
That's really funny. But aren't you playing like a virtual show after the Super Bowl or something?
Yeah, we filmed this virtual performance directed by this genius director named Mark Romanek, and it's really cool. It's some VR technology that I just discovered. I have no idea what to expect. It was fun to play and perform the show. But yeah.
Right.
You have to understand, like, I am the last one to know anything about anything. So really, as we were filming this, they're like, oh yeah, it's on after the Super Bowl. I'm like, really? Cool. But no.
Right. All right. Speaking of Philadelphia, I'm going to ask you about one memory and see if you remember anything. The 1995 tour opening for Mike Watt, that the first Foo Fighters tour.
Was it Trocadero or not Trocadero?
Yes.
I remember. I was there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something crazy about that. If it's too long of a story, I'll tell you next time I see you. But yes, I do remember that show.
Okay. Yeah. Eddie Vedder in a mask and Foo Fighters on the first tour. Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's what we did.
Right. All right. So Studio 666. Tell me the story by Dave Grohl, idea by Dave Grohl. Tell me what the idea was and when.
Okay. This goes back about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
We were getting ready to make our record, Medicine at Midnight. And usually when I start writing for an album, I find a little space. I start demoing songs by myself. I make these simple demos, and then I send them to the guys and I go, what do you think? Are these songs or not? But I like to do that by myself. So I was looking around for a house where I could build a demo studio. This house, the house in the movie, I actually lived in that house 10 years ago. I rented it while I was remodeling my house, my actual house right down the street. So the landlord emails me and says, hey, do you want to buy this house? I said, no, but can I rent it for a little while? I want to make some music. He goes, yeah, sure. So I set up a demo studio. At the same time, this friend of mine, it was from Pennsylvania, this friend of mine texts me and says, hey, I just got out of a meeting and these people said they want to make a horror film with the Foo Fighters. And I texted back, I said, that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard in my life. Like, why would we do something like that? I go back to this creepy old house as I'm demoing songs. I'm like, wait a second. We already have the house. Why don't we make the record here? Right. And then once we're done with the record, take a couple weeks off and then just film some like really low budget run and gun slasher film and put it out for the fans. They'll think it's funny. So I came up with this idea. Rock band needs to make a record. Rock band sick of using recording studios. Rock band finds creepy old house. Don't know the house is possessed. They start making a record. Singer goes kills the entire band and goes solo. That was the original pitch. That was it.
Okay.
And then from there, it was like, okay, let's do it. Then all of a sudden we got screenwriters. It's like, wow, what do? They elaborate on the script. Then we got a table read. What the fuck is a table read? Never done that before. Then we're having meetings with special effects people like chainsaws and fake blood. And it just snowballed into a full-length feature film. Not something we ever aspired to do. But as we look back on it now, we seriously, at least once a week, look at each other and say, oh my God, we made a movie. Nobody expected it to be this way, but I'm glad it turned out.
Now, was the movie made like simultaneously when you were making the record, or did you make the record and then make the movie? Like, how'd that work?
So this is basically what happened. We started making the record in the winter of 2019. We were done by the end of January. We took a couple of weeks off and we started filming mid-February.
Right.
Well, about 4 weeks later, the pandemic hit and everything shut down. We only had 6 more days to shoot, and we had to shut the whole thing down completely.
Mm-hmm.
We waited another 6 or 7 months before we could work within the new guidelines and regulations, do it safely. And those 6 days we had left to shoot turned into 3 weeks. I mean, the new way of working slowed things down a lot.
Right.
But we did it. We were actually one of the first major productions to come back after the pandemic.
Okay.
Yeah, but the hardest part was we kept this thing a secret for 2.5 years, man.
Right.
I can't believe we actually pulled it off.
Right. And you, yeah, that's funny. But so I saw some quotes from you. That's like right before the record was supposed to come out, right? Because the record was supposed to come out in like February 2020 or March 2020 or something. Yeah. And so I just saw these quotes where you were saying that like the house was haunted, kind of.
Yeah.
And is that real, or were you just like BSing in order to sell this movie idea?
That was bullshit. I hate to break it to you. That was bullshit. Because we had this, our plan was pre-pandemic, we would make the record, do all the press, tell everyone the place is haunted. And then the day the record came out, bam, drop a horror film. So we were basically trolling everyone into believing we made it in a haunted house. Well, then the pandemic came around and messed that whole plan up. Then now we're playing cleanup on all those interviews we did before where people are like, wait, you said it was haunted. I'm like, it was a lie. It was all a lie.
Exactly. Now, all right, now tell me, Dave Grohl supposedly like nicest guy in rock and roll. Everybody likes Dave Grohl. Good guy, right? Good guy. But
I try.
Yeah, but then like in the movie, you get to be like demonic, like son of a bitch, Dave Grohl. Like how'd that feel?
It's pretty fun. I gotta be honest. I got into it. It's pretty cool for a couple of days there. Yeah, I mean, listen, when I spent my life trying to be as kind to others as I could possibly be. Mm-hmm. That's something that my mother instilled in me from day one. Be kind. She was a public school teacher. Like, just be kind to people, right? But listen, they put the fangs in your mouth and those contacts in your eyes, and all of a sudden you're allowed to be a demon. Mm-hmm. It feels pretty fucking good to let it come out.
Yeah. Do you feel like you got in touch with your inner like monster, sort of?
Well, okay, years ago, Tenacious D made a film called The Pick of Destiny. And those guys were friends of mine. And I played drums on all their records. And I was actually in one of their music videos as the devil. It was 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. Then they made this film. And they said, hey, we want you to be in the movie. It's the finale. And you're going to be Satan. And it's going to take about 6 hours of prosthetic makeup. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, why not? Like, they're my friends. And this is fun. It's Tenacious D. And I remember the first time I walked on set as Satan, the men looked scared and the women looked turned on. I was like, this is pretty cool.
Cool. All right, so you're about to tour, right? You're gonna Tempe, Arizona soon, and then this will be the biggest tour you ever did, right?
I don't know if it's the biggest. I mean, we've done a lot in the last 26 years, but it does feel good to be able to look at a schedule and it's more than a week. When everything shut down, we really felt that void. I mean, we've spent the last quarter of a century hauling our asses around to every nightclub, arena, stadium that would allow us. Mm-hmm. So when it was taken away from us, it stung. It really stung. Mm-hmm. So getting back out on stage in front of a live audience, man, that's what we're here to do. And we're not here to make horror films. We're here to be a rock band and play rock and roll shows. So when you hit the stage, you're like, oh God, I'm so glad this is my day job. Thank God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So are you is there going to be a DGs are you going to do any like Bee Gees songs in this tour? Is it going to be a little interlude in costume?
Those just happen. They'll happen at the drop of a hat. You want a DG song, we'll bust out You Should Be Dancing, and it works. It's fun. Right.
All right, we got to go. Our 10 minutes are done. It's been great talking to you. What kind of cigarettes you smoking?
Smoking Parliaments today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Being here in the house that I grew up in, it's like I always like to sit down at the fucking dining room table and have a cigarette because that's what I used to do when my mom wasn't around.
Yeah. When your mom's book came out, I interviewed your mom, so now I'm happy. I've interviewed her very nice son as well.
Well, listen, it's all her fault. Just so you know, it's all her fault.
All right, take care. Thanks very much.
See you, Dan.
Appreciate it.